There are developments now in the clash between the Trump administration and higher education. Hundreds of academic leaders, more than 300 and counting, are fighting back.
President Trump's fighting against education in America for some really important reasons that matter to all of us or affect all of us. And the first reason being is that President Trump doesn't like the fact that British Americans, white people, are equal with anyone else who is not white. So every time you hear me talk about President Trump, just automatically know that I'm talking about British Americans, white, because that's really what all this is about, the white individuals. Not saying all the people in the world, all the people in the United States that are white are not good. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is why President Trump is so focused on coming against anyone who's not white in education. Notice that the universities that are facing issues from President Trump, it's not because they let someone in that was white. It's because they let someone in who was not white into the university. And that's when you have, look, this is about, let's go to number 3. This is about Republican DEI. The Republican DEI is, as long as you let someone in from another country that's white, we're good with it. We need a diverse university. That's what you hear them say. We need equity. We need to bring in, because they have some good minds, the white people from other countries. We need to make sure that we're being all inclusive with the people from other countries coming to the United States. That's Republican DEI. Let's move on to the next point. It's a fact that in a few years that Latinos are going to outpace the number of white people here in the United States. Yes, you know that President Trump is scared about that. That's why the Speaker of the House was saying we need more white women to have babies. That's what he was talking about. That's why they're trying to push people. They're really trying to force women into a role that they want, because as typical of white men, they want to control everyone and everything. Colonization is talked about, moving on to my next point, has been an issue here in the Western world and here in the United States. That because they came here and they're like, we found America. You didn't find anything. What you found was land that belonged to somebody else. And as time went by, you just overpowered and murdered. That's what. So now President Trump is against education, because this education is teaching what history really happened here on this soil in the United States. And anytime that you hear Republican DEI also includes, we want that colleges and universities to teach both sides. That is the dumbest thing in the world. If someone wants to focus on Latino studies, maybe wants to focus on African American studies, or whatever they want to focus on, they're focusing on what really happened. And yes, this is what's going on here. And I've said it before, I hear me say it again. DEI is really messy for the Republican leadership, because it consistently shows that they have failed as British Americans, that they have failed in control. Not that they should have had it, but in their minds, they have always believed that they're superior to any other race, no matter where they're at. And finally, let me put this out there. For every college and university that has not stood up, you should have already been fighting against President Trump. 300 is not enough. Don't wait on Harvard. When you have to wait for someone else to do it because, well, it's Harvard or it's whatever university you want to say, it goes to show that you're afraid. And the issue here is that the person who should be afraid of education and not dare touch it is President Donald Trump.